Let's move on to Star Wars.
We
We all love Star Wars. Now, I've gone on record to say that I'm not very excited about the Han Solo spinoff movie.
Yeah.
This bit of news made me excited for the Han Solo movie because the great Woody Harrelson has been cast for the Han Solo anthology movie. Lucasfilm officially announced, the cast of the Han Solo movie is shaping up to be pretty great so far with Alden Ehrenreich.
Sure.
We'll get that name right eventually. Once they actually release the pronunciation of it. Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover are already chosen for key roles. However, one of the most exciting new additions is obviously Woody Harrelson, and the actor has commented on his part for the first time. Asked for details by Mashable on who he's playing, the Hunger Games and True Detective star wouldn't reveal much, but did confirm earlier reports that he'll be serving as a mentor of sorts to Solo. He says, "I'm a mentor to Han, but I'm also a bit of a criminal. I don't think I should say much more than that because the Force is not allowing me."
I love Woody Harrelson.
I'm a huge Woody Harrelson fan.
I am too.
This alone, I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'll go see it.
Like, I was not, geeking out about the movie, but I did want to see it. I did want to, we want to learn more about Han Solo. But just adding in an amazing and outstanding actor who everybody can't help but just like. Adding him to this movie just adds so much, versatility to the movie because, he's definitely going to be doing stuff that's going to make you laugh. Like, even in his more serious movies, he makes you laugh. I mean, I can only think of one movie where he did not make me laugh, but that was just because it was a sad movie in general.
Yeah.
And that was 7 Pounds.
Yes. That was such a depressing movie.
It was. But that's the only movie I could think of that he did not make you smile because you did not smile at all in that movie.
I feel like the Han Solo movie, it's the one Star Wars movie that I think might need a little bit of star power.
Yeah.
Because we don't know anything about the guy who's playing Han. People love Donald Glover and are excited that he's playing Lando like I am.
Yeah.
But I think having someone like a Woody Harrelson and having him play the mentor to Han Solo, it's awesome.
It's got to work.
Yeah.
Like, it has to. And, when does this movie come out, Derek?
This will be was supposed to come out in the summer of 2018, but they're talking about pushing it back to December.
Kind of like what they did with...
To me, Star Wars is a December movie now.
Definitely.
Like, I was against like all the Star Wars movies being anything but the summer. But since Marvel has already kind of established itself in that position, you just make December all about Star Wars.
Yeah, there's no need to fight. There's plenty of time to go around.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it being in December because usually I'm off in that time. So
yeah.
It works.
Same
out.
here. But speaking of December, this year we have Star Wars Episode VIII coming out in December. And in a new interview, director Rian Johnson reveals that the relationship between Luke Skywalker and Rey will be the main focus of Star Wars Episode VIII, and that we'll be spending a lot of time on Octo, which was the planet you saw at the end of Force Awakens.
So will he be able to talk in this movie?
Maybe. We'll have to see.
He just mute the entire movie.
That'd be funny. He says, "I don't want to skip ahead 2 years, and by he, I mean the director. I want to see the very next moment of what happens. How Rey and Luke relate to each other is the key relationship in Episode VIII, and Johnson says a large part of the movie will be spent addressing why Luke's there and what he'll do next. Like Luke, Rey has been pulled into a bigger world by connecting with the Force, but part of what she's dealing with is the realization that she has the power in this gift. She's taking her first step to coming to terms with this thing inside her that she never knew was there and is just starting to reveal its potential." Now, with most Star Wars movies, they jump ahead a year, 2 years, but this one is going to be different. It's going to pick up directly where Force Awakens left off, and I feel like because of that moment, you have to.
Yeah, because, It just captured everything. You were emotional. Passionate. Like hope. All of that was just entwined in that one yeah, it was a brief look when they're just staring at each other, and she reaches forward with the lightsaber, and like you just could not help but just be excited about where this is going to go. For why he's on the planet, I feel like it's a penance as sort because of what happened when he took Kylo Ren as the apprentice, and he turned evil under his watch and everything, and I think that's what you're seeing, kind of like what Yoda did, because if Luke were to, make it known where he was, Kylo Ren would come and kill him.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like, playing off of what Obi-Wan and Yoda both did, where they hid, waiting for, the one.
Yeah. There are a lot of patterns in Star Wars movies. And just like you said, Obi-Wan and Yoda went into exile, so Luke went into exile.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I personally want to know for Episode 8 is hearing from Luke what happened.
Yeah.
How did Snoke get a hold of Kylo Ren? How were the Knights of Ren formed?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of rumors that are going on as to scenes that are going to happen. Like I've heard that, Kylo Ren will learn where Luke is, so he and the Knights of Ren will go to Octo. Rey and Kylo will have their rematch, and Luke takes on the Knights of Ren by himself.
That's going to be so
And I don't like the chances of the Knights of Ren, if that's the case.
What's really funny is, like, I've been rewatching the Star Wars and kind of like a remembrance of Carrie Fisher, and you kind of wonder where Luke has learned everything that he needs to know, because as you know, he barely learned anything from Obi-Wan before he was cut down by Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. And then when he was on Dagobah with Yoda,
he left early
and didn't complete his training. And I know a lot of stuff, you're able to meditate, and you're able to sometimes interact with the ghost of the fallen Jedi and stuff like that. But is that where a lot of his education came from, or did he? Because I know there's also, holocrons and stuff like that. So
it'll be very curious to see like how they explain that, because I think we could see the Force ghosts of Yoda and Obi-Wan.
That would be so cool.
I would love it.
Because you heard, like, whenever Rey picked up the lightsaber, you heard all the voices. You heard Ewan McGregor. You heard Yoda, and just so many different things. Like, you had to listen for them, but they were there.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Carrie Fisher, and that's a great segue into, I guess, what we would call one of the topics of the show.
Yeah.
It has been decided, because there were rumors going around, well, wasn't a rumor, it was a fact. Colin Trevorrow, who's directing Episode 9, met with Lucasfilm to decide what they're going to do with the Leia character. Yeah. Leia was supposed to have a much bigger part in Episode 9, even more so than 8, which is increased from 7.
Yeah.
And one of the possibilities was, much like they did with Tarkin, they would essentially bring her back to life with CG. But it has been confirmed by Lucasfilm, and this is their official statement. We don't normally respond to fan or press speculation, but there is a rumor circulating that we would like to address. We want to assure our fans that Lucasfilm has no plans to digitally recreate Carrie Fisher's performance as Princess or General Leia Organa. Carrie Fisher was, is, and always will be a part of the Lucasfilm family. She was our princess, our general, and more importantly, our friend. We are still hurting from her loss. We cherish her memory and legacy as Princess Leia and will always strive to honor everything she gave to Star Wars.
And honestly, I think that's the best way to go. And, you could have continued everything with CGI, because that Tarkin CGI was on point, and I thought that it was really well done. But I feel like with the guy who played Tarkin, with him dying so long ago, it was with the blessing of his family. And I think that helped that out a lot. But with this being fresh, it's a fresh wound. Everybody's still kind of dealing with it. Episode
8 is going to be extremely emotional now, because it's going to be Carrie Fisher's last movie.
Yeah. And I could only imagine what's going to happen at the end of the movies. Like I imagine, obviously, you're going to have the applause, because you have that in every ending of Star Wars movie. Because I know me and Willis saw it, I think a week late, Rogue One that is, and it was still getting applause at the end of it. And I think with this one having such an emotional baggage along with it, that you're going to knock very few people who are, if you are a true Star Wars fan, it's going to be very hard to have a dry eye at the end of that movie, because as you see the end credits, that is a career, not only a career but a life in itself coming to an end. And I want to look around and just, because it's going to be a standing ovation, and I just want to see the reactions of everybody.
I'm very curious as to how they will. First of all, not having her recreated digitally is the right thing to do. Yeah. A part of me says that they might have entertained the idea, but I think her family probably said no.
Yeah.
Because it's so fresh. Even though, I've obviously never met Carrie Fisher, but she seems like the type of person that wouldn't have an issue with it if they did it. Like, the only way I would have done it, and I explained this in the Lost episode, if you were to do it, I would do it for one scene, and then that's your way of writing her out of 9.
Yeah.
But I think what they should do now is they either change something to where maybe she dies at the end of 8, or you begin episode 9 with Princess Leia's funeral, is I think how you do it. If you're not going to recreate her using CG, which that gets into a whole separate ethical discussion.
Yeah.
But I think not doing it is the right thing to do.
I agree. Like, I know you and Zach had talked about it, and not knowing how the family felt and everything, I was thinking that, if they were to use CGI, like you just said, use it for that one scene and, kind of, tie a bow on it and give her the send-off that she deserves on it. But I think the route that they're taking now is just an even better way of doing it, so we're not having to, see a CGI character in 9, and it's,
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people would have reacted negatively.
Yeah, and it needs to be a smooth transaction, because, like you said, she was going to have a transition, not transaction, but that she was going to have a big part in 9, and it worries me to kind of see where Lucasfilms and Star Wars is going to take this, because we don't know what's going to happen with 9.
One thing I think they need to do, and obviously we don't know what happens in episode 8. If they had killed off Mark Hamill, I think they got to go back and change it and put him in 9, because I think you have to have one of the originals to continue that story. And they killed off Han Solo,
and the only one that would be left is Chewbacca if Luke died.
Yeah. So Mark Hamill had hinted that he would be in episode 9. So we'll just have to see. But we're not gonna know until we go see the movie.
Exactly.
Because if I'm them, Adam Driver had mentioned this. He said if it were up to him, he would release 0 trailers for it, which would be a very interesting approach to it.
I would be okay with it.
I think they need to do a teaser, maybe in the spring, and then in the fall, or maybe like October, November, do another trailer, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm tired. I know I've discussed this into the ground on here, but I'm so tired of seeing, people who are releasing these trailers, and it's giving away so much of the movie. Like, I'm not going to go watch it, but the new Transformers movie with Mark Wahlberg, where, they had Optimus Prime dead floating in space. I thought that would have been a great way to kind of end it, but no. You have to show him fighting Bumblebee in the streets, and that just ruined the big comeback. And like I said, I'm not going to watch it because the Transformer movies have become crap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But just kind of spitballing right there.
Yeah.